They got all these fucking videos out there. But it's not true, bro. It's like, let's keep it real, man. Floyd whipped all these people's asses, yeah? And when they do their top 50 lists, you've got people like fucking Canelo, De La Hoya, and Manny Pacquiao above Floyd, which makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Stupid. Not one of those guys. Not one of them. De La Hoya? De La Hoya? Really?
Spartans! What is your profession?
Yes, people, another edition of Knightz and the Roundtable Discussions where we discuss all sports all the time. Got my guys, Tooth and ST in the building. How are we doing, people?
What's going on?
What's good, people? What's good?
People, it's been a while, bruv. It's been a while since it's just been us three, you know, like ST and Tooth. Like, just that, because obviously the truth is here, or Mr. K is here, or I'm just on my own with Tooth, or I'm on my own with ST. So it's been a while since it's been us three, bro. Like I've missed it. I can't remember the last time it was just us three. I can't even think, bro. I think it was a boxing one, like last year or something.
Yeah, it was a fight. I forgot what the fight was, but it might have been. No, it wasn't. I was gonna say it was Deontay Wilder, but the truth was there as well with us.
No. But anyway. It's a pleasure to have you guys as usual, people. First of all, apologies for no 40 chat last week. Blame the truth for Mr. K. It's got nothing to do with me. Put it on them. So you missed out on United therapy. You missed out on Arsenal. Now back in the race to win the league. All that chat, but 40 chat will be back next week when football comes back, because as you know, international break. So we've decided to do a couple of bits and pieces in between so we can enjoy it, because unlike Tooth, who is enjoying football right now, ST and I want to be as far away from Manchester United talk.
Bro, Manchester United are shit, Sevilla are shit, Ghana are gonna get smoked. Our jollof is worse than Nigeria. This is really bad. It's all bad. I'm finished. I'm finished. I have nothing left, you know.
Oh. Yeah. But people, roundtable talk. We're gonna be discussing the GOATs of boxing. It's as much as it's a debate, it's an appreciation of the boxers of the modern era. So we're not going way back into the archives of Ali in 62 and Joe Frazier and the Rumble in the Jungle and Thriller Manila. We're not doing all of that because none of us were here for all that. So we're going to try and make it as up to date as we can. But as we know, the boxers in this current climate are shit as well. So we're going to be going in between the 90s and the 2000s.
Hey, but trust me, TJ, bro, I'm so happy you said that, bro.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm hoping none of our viewers are expecting us to talk about boxers who have fucking autographed versions of the Bible and shit, bro.
Oh, no. No.
We ain't about that, bro. I ain't going to be talking about none of them, man, that are fucking dead or got Parkinson's right now, bro. Like, nah, bro. Now, we leave all that shit to the proper scholars of YouTube, bro. Do you know what I mean? You could go get that shit elsewhere, bro.
Nah, 100 people, everything's gonna be modern. So if you grew up in the 90s and possibly the early 2000s, this is for you. Any of you millennials or Gen Zs, whichever one you want to call them, yeah, you lot can fuck off, because there's gonna be no mention of AJ. There's gonna be no mention of Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder in this chat. But as usual, people, before we start, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Get the lights up, subscriptions up, all that good stuff. As I say all the time, share. We are here. And don't forget to join our social media pages as well. Links are in the description. Right. Let's get down to business, gents. People, format is basically, we're going to initially start off with who our GOATs are and our reasons why. I told ST and Tooth to pick 3. We'll divulge in the other 2 later as honorable mentions, but we're going to start off with the main event, which is who our GOATs are in the sport of boxing in the modern era. ST, we're going to start off with you. You had time to think?
Yeah. So the
Tell
three
us, bro.
guys, the three guys that I'm.
But no, your main guy. Who is your main guy? Who's the guy that you're circling and saying, this is my GOAT?
Very, very, very a guy that I respect a lot. The guy you have in your thing is number 2 for me, but for me, the guy is Roy Jones Jr.
Nah,
Yeah, and it's an argument.
No. Do you want to? No, listen. I've got Roy Jones here.
Okay.
I've got Roy Jones here. He is here in my list. Tooth, is Jones in your list or no?
Probably not.
Yeah, of course it is, bruv. But fuck's sake, we're gonna have to change it now, innit?
Oh shit! Oh shit!
But ST, like it's a good
I'm
pick.
curious to hear. I'm curious, just as you are, TJ, bruv. I'm curious to hear why you've got him at 1, bruv.
Go for it, ST. Like, state your case, bruv.
You know what? Yeah, obviously I have to give Floyd his credit, but with Roy Jones, yeah, anybody who was watching boxing, the things that he was doing to opponents, you have never, at the time, you haven't seen it before. Like his ring IQ was brilliant, even though he was very athletic. He was fighting also against a lot of the greats, like Lights Out Tony, who's another one of my favorites. Beat a lot of wonderful fighters, you know, I mean, in their primes as well. And overall, it was just brilliant for me. He also went up to heavyweight, where he didn't think he would have a chance of beating Ruiz. I just think like it was a bit similar to the Ronaldinho. We talked off air, yeah, about Ronaldinho and stuff like that. He's someone that he did things which were unique, but he was doing it at the highest level against the best opponents, if you understand what I mean. Stuff like and he was beating everybody, and at the time when he was beating everyone, he was beating plenty of Hall of Famers and Hall of Famers at their peak. Even though he lost a few matches, that's probably why you could put him second. But for me, he's my greatest, personally.
Nah, it's fair points. It's fair points. Tooth, did you have him at number 1, or was he just in your list?
He was in my list.
Oh, okay. Look. With Jones Jr., and I'll let two go after. For me, he was in my list because, bro, listen, before Floyd, it was Roy Jones. Yeah, like this guy was. Listen, the fact that man's stance, yeah, was with his hands down, just told you everything you needed to know about Roy Jones Jr., bruv. Man wasn't trying to do the peekaboo thing, nothing like that. It was just straight, bruv. Boxing IQ, hand speed, athleticism. Listen, coming at you all shapes and sizes, different angles. Bro, like they called, like man's nickname was Captain Hook in it. Like, because man barely jabbed. He was just coming at you with hooks left, right, and center. And listen, people, like all you boxing historians out there, I don't care what you say, yeah? Before he lost his first fight, he was 50-0. I don't care, bruv. Like that DQ, forget about that DQ,
against
bruv.
Montauk Griffin, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, forget about that DQ, bruv.
Yeah.
Man was 50-0, bruv. Man went up from middleweight, 1 belt at middleweight, 1 belt at super middleweight, 1 belt at light heavyweight, and then obviously, as you said, fought Ruiz at heavyweight and run. Obviously, I think James Toney, was that a light heavy that he won that belt, or was it super middle?
168.
Super middle?
Super middle,
yeah. He won against
Bernard
James
Hopkins.
Toney. Bernard Hopkins, the first time.
Yeah,
the first time.
The first time, yeah.
Dude, what are you saying? What, you don't think he won the first one?
No, he did. He did. But don't diss B-Hop, bruv.
Oh no, B-Hop's a bad man as well.
B-Hop's a bad man, bruv.
Yeah,
B-Hop's a bad man.
Listen, no one's dissing B-Hop. He's a bad man as well.
Bruv, listen, B-Hop, I didn't like his style, but
we'll get into B-Hop.
We'll get into B-Hop.
But on Jones, I just wanted to touch on that point that you said about the Tony fight. Bruv, what he done to him and in that fight, bruv, incredible, bruv, because Tony was a fucking monster.
Absolute beast.
He was killing it, bruv. He was killing it, man. And if he had taken his career more seriously, bro, he could have been. We could have been talking about Tony in here, bro. But none of us are going to be talking about Tony tonight.
Yeah, because I think before Tony fought Jones, I think he was like 46 or 47 or something like that.
James Tony has so much talent, man. absolutely ridiculously talented guy. But that actually proves for me the level of Roy Jones, that he made him look ordinary. And
Yeah,
that stays, yeah.
Bro.
yeah, and that's the thing, man. Jones had a ridiculous amount of talent as well, bro. Ridiculous amount of talent, but there's only so far talent can take you. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, Father Time catches up. Obviously, a lot of the moves that Jones made in his career are questionable, like going all the way up to heavyweight. And then what was it? Came down to fight Tarver, innit?
Yeah,
175.
I think that's what killed him. I think that's what killed him, because he
lost to the Jamaican dude, didn't it, bro? Your boy,
Glenn Johnson.
Yeah, that's it, bro. That's it. The what's it? The left back for England. What was it? The right back for England.
This guy, bro. It was right back, bro. Don't disrespect Glenn Johnson, bro.
And the thing about Glenn Johnson, his weaker foot was his better foot. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense.
Proper, bro. Proper. Didn't he play for Portsmouth at one point, bro?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Portsmouth, Liverpool,
Portsmouth, bro. For all the old school Premier League dons, bro. Man knows about Portsmouth.
That was Africa Central, bro. How you got them all the real passports and all them things there?
Bro, trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. But yeah, man, Jones. That was the beginning of the end for him when he went all the way up and then started to come back down, and then he got fucked up by Tarver twice, and then he got fucked up by Glenn Johnson, and then after that, it was just basically one of those like Anderson Silva kind of things where
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, bro. Where you start to question, was the decline longer than the prime?
Yeah, because then I think after that he lost to Lebedev, and then obviously he lost to that fraud Calzaghe as well, and then obviously Hopkins too, and then
just Calzaghe. You remember Calzaghe's wingman, bro? The other Welsh dude.
Oh,
Macaronelli.
Enzo Macaronelli.
Man, that's it, bro.
Yeah, he knocked him out as well.
Knocked him out, yeah. Spark, bro.
Yeah.
This is it, and that. Bro, listen, like Jones Jr. along with Tyson were the two reasons I started watching boxing, bro. And it was one of them ones where Jones is towards the end of his career, because what was it? I think I wrote it down how many fights he had. 66. He had 166, lost 9. But it was after 50 that everything just started going wrong for him. Yeah. And then it's one of them ones where he just didn't know when to stop. And it hurt his legacy. Like, don't get me wrong. As I said, if Jones didn't fluctuate in all the weight and because, bruv, you're going for, I think he weighed, bruv, something stupid. He went up to heavyweight and then you drop all the way back down to super middle. And it's just like, bro, what are you doing? Like, that's that, bruv. Tooth, you know, bruv, about weight cutting, bruv. That's killer, bruv.
Yeah. And obviously back then there wasn't, as stringent, I would say, as a drug testing protocol as they have nowadays. So obviously, there were some Mexican supplements involved with all of those weight cuts and, weight gains and moving up and down, yo-yoing up and down weight classes. So it took its toll. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely, wear and tear. But for his prime, unquestionably one of the fucking greatest to ever do it, and changed the game completely. Like, only a few guys with that style were ever successful. And he was probably the most successful by a country mile out of all the other guys. The only other guy that I could think of off the cuff right now with that hands down, reflex, cocky is Nassim. And he nowhere near as accomplished.
Exactly.
As
Nassim, who was it? Was it Barrera?
Barrera.
Barrera battered him up still.
Proper. Brock him up, as Nassim would say.
Yeah.
But, I can't think of anyone else with that sort of hands down style, that cocky flair style. That
also, I was gonna say, brother. Also, like, people don't underrate it. When he used his jab, he turned his jab at the end of his punch into a hook. So that's where he'd get his most knockdowns as well.
Bro, and that's the thing, bro. He never even fucking threw a jab. It always looked like a hook. It was always a hook, which was crazy. He led with some of the most unorthodox shit. Like, he would lead with an uppercut. Like, who would do that? Like, it was crazy. No, for real. He was very innovative. You know, he changed the game. He completely brought these new ideas into the game that were completely banished before. He changed it, man. So I see why you put him at number one.
Nah, 100. And what we got to understand is as well about Jones is that, bro, it is very, bruv, I can't think of anyone off the top of the head. I know obviously you two know way more about boxing than I do, but in terms of his weight, to win belts at 4 different weight classes, and we're talking about the upper echelons, because we hear it at the lighter weights, where they start off at flyweight and then they move up to super middle and they win like 8 belts at 8 different weight classes, blah, blah. But to do it from middleweight to heavyweight, bro, like that is mad. And we're talking about John Ruiz. I think like he was, ST, correct me if I'm wrong, he was a somebody in the heavyweight division at the time.
He was a good fighter. He wasn't the best, but he was a good fighter.
Yeah, and to go up for your and win at heavyweight, bro.
Sorry, guys, man. I've got the sniffle.
That's right.
No worries, bro. To go up and then just beat a man at heavyweight, bro. Like, not only does it take guts, but bro, it just goes to show the talent that the man had. Because, bro, they always say it in boxing, there's like the bigger man should always beat the smaller man. But you're talking about this guy that was small, bro, middle, bro. Like, as John Ruiz, you must feel like a dickhead, bro. You got beat up by a middleweight. Bro. Like, that is nuts. And that's why he was in my list. He wasn't my number one, but I completely understand, ST, that why you would have Roy Jones at number one, brother. This is the same guy that beat Bernard Hopkins with a broken hand, for frig's sake, in the first one. So it's nuts. But ST, give your final statement before we move on about Jones. I know we've said a lot, but just summarize.
Well, I mean, I think we've all kind of summarized it. That's why I picked him. Also, I might have to, in a way, I'll also kind of include his amateur career, because his amateur career was very good as well. People also talking about his IQ. He did very well. You know how some fighters, they become great professional fighters, but they may not have the best amateur records, but he was clear in everything. So he was a natural phenomenon in the amateur sport and in the actual pro, and they're two different sports. Yeah, that's it. I mean, we've all summed up the points, really. That's my
fair, brother. And we forget that he was a Olympic silver medalist as well, bro. I think it was a robbery
he got
for that one as well, bro. From Roy Jones Jr. Definitely.
The Black Americans will stay being robbed, fam.
I'm telling you, bro. But now people see this. That's what I'm talking about. Roy Jones Jr., bro. Like, to all you youngers, you probably be thinking about who's that. Like, listen, go watch the tapes. Yeah. And if you want to see someone so unorthodox, batting up guys for fun, bruv. Like, this guy didn't lose, like, in his prime. Like, he did not lose, and he never looked like he was losing. So, people, that's ST with Roy Jones Jr. Tooth, come to you next, bro. Give us your name. Here's the thing, ST, with Tooth, bruv. Like, I genuinely don't know what he is going to say, bruv.
Neither do I, to be fair.
Like, I'm not gonna, like, I'm gonna let him say it, because I think I have a feeling, but it's too, bruv. It could be, bruv. He's probably gonna say someone that I've never even heard of, bruv.
Bruv, listen, we've all heard of this guy, but can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Cool. So we've all heard of this guy, man. He's a local legend, bruv. Do you know what I mean? This guy is local blood, yeah? Him and TJ go way back as well, bruv.
I know where this is going. Oh, God, no.
Bruv,
this is the true spreading, bruv.
Hey, listen, bruv, yeah? A force, bruv, yeah? Man, like Audley Harrison, all right?
Get the fuck out of here!
Big up Audley Harrison, wherever you are, bruv, man. Big
He's
yourself
American
up.
now. He's in America with his family. Man can cook, you know. You see him on MasterChef. He was cooking up. Yeah, he was doing his thing.
Big up Audley Harrison, bruv. That's number one. That is number one GOAT. No, I'm playing, blood. But let me say this, man. When I heard your number one ST, and then obviously we all know what TJ's number one is.
Exactly.
Like, that's an obvious one. We even called it before we even went live, bro.
Oh yeah,
like,
of course. I know him already.
Exactly. We all do, bro. We all do, bro. And if the audience are watching this and haven't figured it out already, then they need to go watch another channel, bro. Just unsubscribe. Do you know what I mean? Just see yourself out.
Unsubscribe, bro. We need them.
we don't even want them, man, bro. Like, we don't even want them, man, bro. If they haven't figured it out. But it made me think, bro, because I had to shuffle my list, yeah? But I'll tell you the truth, bro. Who I'm about to name is my GOAT, personally. Like, and ST, and this is all ST's fault because he went on a personal thing. Like, personally, for me, the GOAT is fucking Bernard Hopkins, bro. B-Hop. One time.
I didn't expect that, bro. Sorry to cut you off quickly. Bro, I'm sorry, yeah. Like, he might be in your list, but I genuinely thought one of you guys were gonna say this because I had so many counteractions for Tyson, yeah.
No,
you two said it, bro.
No, not Tyson.
I was ready. No. But B-Hop, I did it, bro. Listen, Tooth, you have the floor, bro. Because I haven't even got it written down, to be honest.
No, ST, go on, bro. What were you gonna say?
I said I understand why you picked him. Don't worry. I understand.
I know, bruv. I know you know why I picked him, bruv, man. Because, all right, let's go back to the start, bruv. Because you touched on Jones's amateur career, yeah? Hopkins obviously incarcerated. So he came up through the prison system, right? Yeah. And if you dig a little, you will find out all these other boxing programs, they will send their champions and their kids into the prisons for fights and all this kind of shit. Yeah. And Hopkins was clearing them all out. Hopkins was a champion in the prison, in the state prisons and all this shit. So, and in prison rules, boxing, bruv, there's no like fucking weight divisions, nothing like that. They eyeball you up and put you up against whoever, bruv. So he had in that sense, he had a very, I wouldn't say accomplished in the sense of, trophies, medals, blue ribbons, but he came up the hard way, like as hard as you can get. And he proved himself there. And then when he came over into the pros, he showed that his fundamentals were going to take him a long way early on. When he was pitted up against Roy Jones in their first fight as well, you knew Hopkins was probably one of the finer opponents that Jones had faced in his career. Like, there was somewhat of a buzz about that fight. You kind of knew there was sort of rivalry here. Do you know what I mean? And that was very early in his career, and he was fighting a phenomenon in Roy Jones. So you can pass him on that loss. But what he done after that loss, up until even recently, bruv, Kovalev, bruv. Up until Kovalev, bruv. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, shall I start reeling off some names, bruv? Fucking
bruv.
Felix Trinidad, Oscar De La Hoya, Kelly Pavlik, fucking Roy Jones again. Who else was there, bruv? Jermaine Taylor. He should have had those.
Yeah. Winky Wright.
Winky Wright, oh my God, bruv. Only real OGs know about Winky Wright, bruv. Yeah. And this is right off the cuff, bro. This ain't we ain't looking stats up right now, bruv. This is the names these are the scalps that fucking Hopkins took, bruv. Now, one of your counter arguments earlier, TJ, was, you hated his style, bruv. Bruv, so did I.
No, wait. No. I didn't say I hated his style. I said I wasn't a fan of his style, but B-Hop, listen, I respect B-Hop, bruv. I respect the hustle. It just wasn't my cup of tea, especially towards the end of his career. like the defensive nature of it. But don't get me wrong, in his prime, bro, I loved watching B Hop.
Trust me, bro. And look, you touched on the end of his career where he started falling off, bro. That was all Father Time. That was all Father Time. He still had all his fucking fundamentals left. He didn't fall off like Roy Jones fell off, bro.
Yeah,
to the point where you start thinking, you know what I mean? Is his decline actually longer than his prime existed? Do you know what I mean? With B Hop, his decline was despite it being prolonged as far as his age, it was a very short decline. Do you know what I mean? It was what? Joe Calzaghe, he lost to him, then he came back and beat
and that I question that loss.
You know what? It was.
I question that loss to Calzaghe.
I've seen the fight. It was close. I for me think Bernard Hopkins just about lost that fight, but it is questionable. It's very questionable. But that's why
people, if you didn't know, I'm not Team Calzaghe at all, bro. If Cooking with Rash was on here, he'd be going nuts right now. But anyway, sorry to carry on.
No, I was just gonna say, I have no problems with that loss. That was a loss. You know what I mean? It's a loss. He fought one of the best guys at that time, and he lost to one of the best guys. See, this is what I mean. When you look at the fights that he lost to guys that he should have lost to, and there's no, do you know what I mean? There's no there's no disappointment in the names that he lost to. The Kovalevs, the fucking Joe Calzaghes, the Roy Jones Juniors. Do you know what I mean? And even who was the Great White Hope at the end that knocked him out of the ring?
Oh, Joe Smith, and he's won the world title now. Joe Smith
exactly,
Jr.
bro. Oh, preach, bro, preach.
And he's won the world title now, and he's a world champion right now. So trust
me, blood. Trust me. So no shame. And bro, he was like, what was it? He was like fucking 74 when he took that fight.
Yeah.
54, 50 something.
No. ST, he was 74 when he took that fight.
Yeah, 74. Bro. Fine.
Trust me, bro. We're going on two fucking mathematics right now, bro.
No, we're going. We're going on the real.
Who's the oldest ever champion in the history of boxing, bro?
It's him.
Larry Holmes. Yeah. Was it him? No. Was he old? Wait, no. What's it name? Oh my God. What's it name? Wasn't Thing older than him? Or was he the oldest heavyweight? Was he the oldest heavyweight?
He's oldest heavyweight.
Oh, okay.
It's either Roy Jones, not Roy Jones, Bernard Hopkins, or a guy called K9 Bundridge No, but I think it's him. Yeah, K9 Bundridge was younger. Okay, no, it was probably Bernard.
Yo, ST, bruv. You're going back to like fucking the Marcus of Queensbridge rules. Do you know what I mean? Where you had to slap a man in the face with some leather gloves to fucking initiate a duel, bruv. We ain't going that far back, bro.
All right. Now, Cornelius Bundridge he wasn't that far back. He beat Jamal Charlo beat him for his first world title, man. Don't worry.
I thought you were talking about something. I don't even know who the fuck that is.
No, you know what I mean? He's from Detroit as well, yeah. 154-pound champion until like Jamal beat him, but he was quite old when he won it. Yeah.
No, but bro, as far as my knowledge goes, bro, B Hop is the oldest ever champion.
I think it's B Hop. Yeah, it's B Hop.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Oldest ever champion. Now hear this, bro. Yeah, you know what was I gonna say, bro? With B Hop, bro. When I first started noticing him, bro, I wasn't a fan of that style either, bro. I didn't understand what the fuck he was doing, bro. It didn't look like he was doing anything. It looked like he was a fucking punching bag. Do you know what I mean? When I started finding out, like, bro, I remember watching his career, bro. I remember the Felix Trinidad fight, the Oscar De La Hoya fight, where he fucking knocked Oscar De La Hoya out with a liver shot, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, crumbled him, folded him,
bro. But from that point onwards, yeah, it became like you could really see Nassim Richardson's fucking training pull up like at its peak, bro. Because, bro, my man was taking no shots, bro. No damage, nothing. He had that shell perfected to the point where he beat the fuck out of Jermaine Taylor twice. But because no one knew what the fuck was going on, they gave Jermaine Taylor the fight on both occasions.
Exactly. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I remember the second one. I don't remember the first one. I remember the second one.
The second one especially, that was like, I don't usually cry robbery for certain things, but that there,
yeah,
fight, Jermaine Taylor was getting
criminal, bruv. It was criminal.
Proper.
It was terrible.
Now listen, finally, to top it off, my last point, yeah? We didn't say this about Jones, but Jones, he had, what was it? He had a rap album in it, bruv.
Yeah.
That tune was big, bruv. B-Hop doesn't have that, though. B-Hop doesn't have that, bro. But B-Hop was on the cover of Fight Night 2. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But come to think of it, bruv, Jones was on the cover of Fight Night 1, bruv.
Yeah, he was.
Listen, big both of them up, man. You got to respect it.
You know what I mean? This is one of them ones.
The middleweight division back in the time, the early 90s, the 160, 168 pounds. Amazing fighters, man.
Even though,
and this is just a throwback one, man.
Yeah.
This is just a throwback one. ST, bruv, that Winky Wright fight with B-Hop, bruv. Classic.
Yeah. Real good fight. And Winky Wright was a very underrated fighter himself. You know
Slept on, bruv. Winky was slept on, bruv.
Yeah. He had that he had that very, but it's very not negative, but very unorthodox. People that you'd look all wrong against Winky unless you knew how to really box.
Yeah, he was another one. Speaking of defensive fighters, bruv, like B-Hop and Floyd. Bro,
very good one.
Winky was probably up there. If we're going about defensive fight, if this was defensive fighters, Winky would be top 3, top 5.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But man, that's me, TJ.
People listen. Look. I tell you this all the time, right? This is the same guy Tooth, yeah, that was like, he was saying to me when we were talking off air, he was like, I hope you're not expecting me to carry this, TJ. This, that, bruv. Listen, I know this guy, bruv. Like, don't get me wrong, Tooth is full UFC, MMA as of this moment in time, but I know this guy grew up on boxing in the 90s and the 2000s, so I knew, and obviously people, you know ST, bruv. You know that's who I defer to when it comes to boxing. So this is what I'm talking about. This is what I wanted. This is what I wanted, but nah, B-Hop was left field. I can't lie. I didn't. Not that I don't.
Big up yourself.
Say that again.
Yo, my shit is fucking up again, bro.
No, I can hear you now.
No, I was just saying, big up yourself, ST, bro, because, bro, your knowledge of boxing surpasses mine. Like, mine is just
No, yours is good. Yours is very good. I like debating with people who are boxing.
I'm fucking impressed, bro. My shit is tip of the iceberg shit. You know shit, bro. You're the encyclopedia of this boxing shit, bro. So, for real, man. Like DJ says he refers to you, bruv. I'll refer to you as well, man. Do you know what I mean?
You man, you know your things, innit? You man know your things, don't you?
Listen, ST's trying to get away from the fact that he's the Max Kellerman of this, bruv. To his boy, bruv. Max Kellerman, bruv.
Proper, that is, bro. Hey, that is a big compliment, bruv. Because back in the day, man, you know, where there was no YouTube or nothing, bruv. Max was the guy, bruv. He was the fucking guy.
Yeah, he was. He was good. Nah,
100%. But nah, Tooth, that was left field. I can't lie. Not because I don't rate B-Hop, but because I just didn't expect you to say it, to be honest. But nah.
By the way, bro, who did you think I was going to say, bro?
I thought you were going to say Tyson. I honestly thought you were going to say Tyson.
Nah, bro. No, I love him, but GOAT, tough for me to throw him in there, bro.
Yeah, I know.
I can't.
I mean, because Tyson, obviously people, you know who I'm going to say number one, and I said Roy Jones on my list. The other person I did have was Tyson, but I had, if one of you lot would have said number one, I had arguments to counter it because I was just like, we'll get into the other mentions, but yeah. But nah, people, B-Hop, listen, you can't argue with what you've said, to be honest. And this is what I said. I said, as much as it's a debate, people, and we all have it's an appreciation as well, because at the end of the day, all grew up in that era, and in that era we had so many fighters to choose from. So it's one of them ones where you just pick your poison. But yeah, people, listen, as you know, like my GOAT, y'all know what it is right now, bruv. Listen, this guy for me is the GOAT of the modern era. I cannot say any less, bruv, than this. But Queen Khan, yeah, bruv. Queen Car, bro. Get that fucking guy out here. He shouldn't even be boxing. But listen, you know what it is, bruv. Money May all day. We know TBE, bruv. Look, with Floyd, listen, people, we all know 50-0, undefeated, 15 major world titles. How much ever the weight classes he won belts at? I think it was from featherweight to junior middleweight.
130 to 154, I think it was. Yeah.
It's 154 junior middle, because remember he won the belt at junior middle.
Yeah, junior middleweight.
Yeah. Bro, listen. You see Floyd. Biggest joke is, people. As I said before Floyd, it was Roy Jones. That's who he was watching. I never actually started watching Floyd until the De La Hoya fight. I wasn't paying attention to him, and obviously it was because he was the B side. It's only then and I started paying attention. I was like, who is this guy? Then we had the Hatton fight, and I was actually supporting Hatton, bruv. I'm like, who's this arrogant prick coming over here and blah, 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 and chatting shit, bruv? And it's that day that I appreciated what we were seeing, bro. And if you want to take somebody that has, listen, before I even get into that stuff, bruv, let's just talk about boxing. This guy was making people look stupid. ST, I know you're going to bring up the Castillo fight, and we know the first one, he lost.
But it's fine. He you know what? He ran it back. You can't. He ran it back, so you can't. Argue.
And he won it, and he hasn't looked back.
I don't think he lost the first fight.
Do you not?
I
thought he did.
I thought he did.
Don't get me wrong. Like, it was neck and neck up until like what 11th, 12th, like whatever it was. Like the last 2 rounds they were going into, they were neck and neck, in my opinion. And I just feel like Floyd closed the fight better. Do you know what I mean?
I agree with you. I thought Floyd closed the fight well, but a lot of the closer rounds you probably would have given to Floyd. For me, I don't think Floyd was doing enough in those rounds. But it's arguable. It was a close fight. It was a close.
It was. But
people are going on like, Castillo battered him. Castillo didn't batter him.
Nah, he didn't.
Like, I think I remember that fight. For me, it was like 114, 112. I scored like a few like dead even rounds because both weren't doing anything. But I thought Castillo won for me. But he ran it back. So you can't even.
It was debatable, and he ran it back, and then he did the business in the second fight.
But him, yeah. Exactly.
But that is the only fight in a mad career where I would say, apart from round, ST, correctly if I'm wrong, was it round 2 or round 3 against Mosley, where Mosley hit him and Floyd literally held onto his arm?
I think it was 3.
Yeah. Apart from those 2, I can't remember a time where I was like, Floyd's in trouble here. And when you reel off the names, bruv, listen, let's stop, bruv. Arturo Gatti, Zab Judah, Oscar De La Hoya, Diego Corrales, Ricky Hatton, Marquez, Mosley, Cotto, Canelo, Pacquiao, Baldemir. Like, bro, like, this is the one thing that I said, and this is what I'm saying. Like, when Floyd and Manny were gonna fight, right before that, everyone was talking about how Floyd lost fights before. People brought up the Zab Judah fight, and everyone knows Judah started well, but then he tailed off and Floyd took over the fight. Same thing with De La Hoya. For early rounds, but then Floyd took over the fight. I think someone tried to say to me the Cotto fight. I'm like, no, what?
The Cotto fight was, I scored it 8. I think it was like 9-3 to Floyd for me.
Bruv, smoking crack, bruv. And I mean, the person who brought these things up knows who he is, right? In our group.
There's videos on the internet now that try show like how Manny Pacquiao beat Floyd and how
it's just dumb. It's just so dumb, isn't it?
Fucking Canelo beat Floyd, and they got all these fucking videos out there. But it's not true, bruv. It's like, let's keep it real, man. Floyd whipped all these people's asses, yeah? And when they do their top 50 lists, you've got people like fucking Canelo, De La Hoya, and Manny Pacquiao above Floyd, which makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Stupid. Not one of those guys. Not one of them.
Yeah,
De La
exactly.
Hoya? De La Hoya? Really?
No.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
De
but
La
hey,
Hoya.
look at this, bro. Bro, listen, yeah, to the people that don't know, yeah, TJ gives me around 5 minutes to prepare for these poddies, bruv, yeah? So I went on to Google and I typed in greatest boxers of all time, yeah? Just to jog my fucking memory, bruv. Just to maybe pick out a name that I thought, oh shit, didn't think of that. Sports Bible, Lad Bible, whatever the fuck it's called, bruv. I dare you. Go on their list now, blood. Floyd is like number 39, bruv.
That's ridiculous.
Ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
And I kid you not, bruv. Manny Pacquiao is like fucking 20 spots above him. And then Oscar De La Hoya is like 5 or 10 spots above him.
Bro, and this is the thing, and this is the bruv, it's the lack of appreciation for a guy that conquered his craft, bruv, and actually is one of the last few fighters that showed the sweet science of boxing. Like, how can you have Oscar De La Hoya ahead of Mayweather when Mayweather beat him? How can you have Canelo?
Mayweather beat your favorite fighter, bro. That's what it is. Mayweather just beat
That's
your...
it. But bro,
whether it's Cotto, whether it's Canelo, whether it's fucking Marquez, whether it's Pacquiao, whoever it is, bro.
Yeah, bro. And this is the biggest joke, is that money beat all these guys in their primes. All right, you could probably argue, obviously Pacquiao, Nah, not Cotto, but Pacquiao and Mosley were on the decline. You can say that, but the rest of them, nah, mate, bruv, he beat Canelo when he was on the ascendancy. Everyone was like, oh, but Canelo was young. Canelo was, ST, you probably know what he was on at that time before he fought Floyd, how many fights he'd had. He had plenty of experience, like bruv. Yeah, but don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Floyd was smart. He fought him when he hadn't fought all these big names yet. Yeah, but at the same time, bruv, the young up and remember, bruv, ST, remember, bruv, everyone's talking. Remember when Oscar De La Hoya was like, yeah, I've handed the blueprint over to Canelo in how to beat Floyd. I was like, how can you hand over a blueprint when you didn't even beat him? Like, it don't make no sense, bro.
Bro, you know what's funny about that, yeah, is that when the shoe's on the other foot, man, everyone complains, innit, bruv? No one had any problems when AJ went in there and fucking decapitated Klitschko. Like, no one had any problems with the young versus old argument then. Like, as soon as Floyd beats Canelo, he's like, oh, he was young. Well, don't fucking challenge him then. Don't take
bro, and also, it was Canelo's fault. It was Canelo's fault about the catch weight.
Yeah, and bro, listen, man, and Floyd was like, what, 40? 39, 40 when he took that fight. So what are people saying that like this was Floyd's like 4th comeback from retirement?
Yeah, exactly.
This is the biggest joke, and it came in the timing period where Floyd was, yes, people can say, oh, but Floyd handpicked his fighters. But bro, look at the names, bruv. Who else was out there that you can say, oh, well, Floyd, yes, everyone complains that the Pacquiao fight happened too late. But bar that, all the other names that are there, bro, those were the names in the divisions. So how can we be having this argument, oh, he handpicked his opponents? Bro, he fought everybody there was to fight. There's no one out there at that time that Floyd had to fight that he hadn't fought. What, Queen Khan? No frigging chance, bruv. Like, get out of here with that.
The biggest argument about Floyd's like career is that it's the contrary to that, TJ. It's actually like he didn't take these fighters when they were, let's say, at the peak of their careers. And that can come down to numerous things, bruv. Like, as we know in boxing, it's not that easy to just make a fight. Yeah. But at the same time, like when he took he did, when we look in retrospect, we see that he took out Mosley, he took out Pacquiao, he took out a few other names as well. But when we're looking at it like through contemporary lenses, from like living there, being there at the time, I remember, bro, like he was not having any part of Mosley when Mosley was on the fucking juice, on the cream. Do you remember the hot Falco scandal? Bro, he was not getting in the ring with Mosley then. Do you know what I mean? He was not getting in the ring with Margarito after the whole fucking, you know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He was not.
Was Margarito, was that the loaded gloves incident?
Yeah.
And not only that, the Peds as well, bro. Everyone knew Margarito was like, come on, man, Mexican supplements, bro. Do you know what I mean? So, and everyone knew he was not going to fucking have any part of Pacquiao when Pacquiao was like the Mexicutioner, bruv, taking out all those Mexican dollies, bruv.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was having none of it. And when Pacquiao was juiced to the gills by fucking Freddie Roach, bruv.
Freddie the joke cockroach.
The bro, proper, man. Listen, man, drug insinuation in his name, bruv. Roach, fam. Do you know what I mean? But this was the biggest complaint that I remember at the time. Like, and again, we all grew up with this shit, bro. We remember this. Like, I'm sure it's sparking off a few memory cells, just reeling off those names and bringing up that time and that period. But when we look at it in the grand scheme of things now at the end, well, actually, do you know what? Yeah, he did fucking fight Mosley.
Everybody.
He did. He fought them at the end.
For everyone.
But Mosley was towards the end of career.
Yeah, Mosley was towards the end. Pacquiao as well. But bro, remember, everyone needs to remember, like, people said Marquez was old. Marquez was just coming off knocking out Pacquiao, bro.
Yeah, of course.
When Floyd,
good
remember that fight where I don't even think Marquez touched Floyd in that fight. No, like, Floyd schooled him for 12 rounds, bruv. And this is it for me. So you put all those names in there, Floyd fought everybody, bruv, and won. As I said, the Castillo won, and probably the third round against Mosley is the only time where I can say, you know what, Floyd was in trouble. The Castillo, you could debate, he lost. Mosley was in trouble, but he came back and he won that fight, right? And then in saying that, the guy then transcends the sport of boxing to astronomical levels in terms of money, obviously, which is why he's called Money May. So it was getting to, so obviously he left Top Rank, did his own thing, and then went after Top Rank's cash cow, which was Oscar, bruv. Beat him, and then he's never looked back since, to the point where man earned the money to pick who he wanted to fight, bruv, when he signed the deal with Showtime. And that's when you were seeing stupid money, because obviously he broke his own record twice. He had the biggest fight and the biggest pay-per-view buys with Oscar. Then he went and did it again with Pacquiao, which obviously was a fight of the century. And then I did it too. I don't know if this is right. I don't know if the numbers have been botched. No, not with Conor.
No, second. No.
Second. All right, cool. So that's what I'm saying, bro. Man's got top three.
Pacquiao still number one. Number two's Conor.
Exactly, and then number three is Oscar. So,
and that's when he was the B-side at the time.
Exactly. So the guy, the money that we were talking about in boxing just went stupid. It went astronomical, bruv. And he's done it as a person of color, bruv. He's achieved and actually made the money that obviously our Caucasian people would make fighting these fights. And obviously he's gone on to, his brand is worldwide. Imagine you were that good, right? And people hated you so much that they still bought your fights to see if you would lose, bruv. Like, do you know how great you have to be to talk all that shit? Like, Tooth loves this shit talking. Obviously, that was in the middle of his career, bruv. Like, when you were talking so much shit and then you go and back it up, and not even back it up as in, oh yeah, you just won, you're beating up man as well, bruv. Like, bro, come on.
No, trust me, bro. That whole changing character that we saw from like Pretty Boy, into Money, was a brilliant marketing. Like, didn't he go on WWE and knock out fucking Big Show?
Big Show, yeah.
You know what I mean, bruv? Like, trust me, bruv. This guy, man, like, hats off to him, bruv. Hats off to him.
You know what? I was gonna say,
people forget that he's illiterate as well. Sorry, ST.
Yeah, he can't, and he's doing all of that. But anyway, I was gonna say, people talk about his. I thought, to be honest, I think his Canelo win is one of his best wins,
bro.
For me,
bro, I was shitting myself about that fight because I genuinely thought he could lose. because I like the way how everyone, and don't get me wrong, Canelo's gone on to do great things. Like he's carrying the sport of boxing right now. But the way how everyone was talking about him, I was scared for that fight because of the size of Canelo and because of the way how everyone was talking about him. So, bro, Canelo couldn't touch him. That judge that gave it as a draw, criminal, by the way.
Yeah, she's not judging anymore.
She was the one that fucked up the Canelo Triple G cards as well, innit, bro?
Yeah.
Nah, mad, bruv, mad. But that for me is why Floyd is
Adelaide Bird, bruv. Adelaide Bird.
Yeah, that's it. Just came
to my head. Yeah, man. Proper.
She was mad. She's mad.
Yeah, she fucked. Yeah, she was the one that scored that first Triple G Canelo fight, like way off to the left, like gave it like a clean sweep to Canelo or some shit.
Yeah,
disgusting.
some shit.
Canelo didn't even win that fight at all. But anyway, that's
he didn't.
That's me for Floyd, bruv. Like, listen, people, look, you make your choice from here. We're not done yet, by the way. I'm just saying, like, these are the ones that we're calling the GOATs. Obviously, ST's gone with Roy Jones Jr. Tooth has gone with B-Hop, Bernard, the executioner, Bernard Hopkins, and I obviously gone with Money May all day. In terms of our GOATs, listen, eloquently put, like, you could go for any of those guys.
Any of the
see
three
them as
is
your
fine.
GOAT.
Yeah.
Any of the three is fine,
Yeah.
in my opinion, in terms of GOAT status. Obviously, Tooth and I had Jones Jr. In our list as well.
I had Money May in my list.
You had Money May in your ST. Who was your third person?
My third person. Who was my third person? He just literally slipped mine. It wasn't B-Hop. It was someone. It was Ward.
Oh,
I had Ward.
Now I looked at Ward, yeah, and actually no. Before, go on.
The reason why I said Ward, and this is another argument for the other two, yeah, barring Butte, Ward kind of cleaned up the whole division, and he was fighting against really good fighters, and he didn't take long to beat Kovalev, where if Kovalev was at his killer best, and Kovalev.
Yeah, he was. You're right, bro. You're right, for real.
And that Super 6-1, it's a very difficult because you're fighting guys back to back, and all of them are in their prime. All of them have world titles. All of them were the best of the best. No one was in the decline.
Bro, who was that Super 6? Kessler, Carl Froch,
Ward, Durrell.
Butte. Was Butte in that?
No, Butte didn't want to do it. He was the only one that didn't go. Abraham.
Was Darnell Boone in there as well? No, he wasn't. No,
he wasn't. But that's the one of two people that only knocked down a Ward. So
I remember. Yeah. For real, bro. This is throwback shit, bro.
Yeah. So this is why Ward was up there. I was considering against B-Hop and Ward because obviously B-Hop was one of my favorites, but the reason why I picked Ward is because I think Ward would have been kryptonite for. And also it's kind of a way I was also thinking about head-to-heads as well. I mean, they're both similar height, similar everything. I think that Ward was just technically better, man. He was just better.
No, 100. Like I can hear Ward. I think it was was he 32-0 ST or something like that?
32-0, yeah.
Yeah, 32-0. With the only issue I have with Ward, right,
was probably divisions that he stayed in one. Well, two divisions really.
It's not the two divisions. It's not even that. It's just when I compare him to the others, I'm just like, don't get me wrong, he fought some very good fighters, but who were the elites that he fought? I mean, apart from Kovalev, who were the elites that Ward fought? And that's the only reason why I question it. Don't get me wrong, I'm a massive fan of Andre Ward, bro. I've loved the way that he boxed. But I don't know. Tooth, what do you think?
No, I'll just take what you said and run with it, bro. He's boring, bro. He's a fucking Gareth Barry of boxing, bro.
Hi, bro.
That's a Gareth Barry.
Bro, plain A4 piece of paper, no lines. You know the printer packs. He's one of those, bro. Like no personality, exactly, bruv, man. Staples, bruv. Ryman's and that, bro. He's just plain, bruv. Brilliant boxer, though. I know it's a backhanded compliment in it, bruv. Like, I'm proper shitting on him and then saying he's like a fucking brilliant boxer, but he just never caught my imagination, man. And a lot of people can say that about B-Hop. But the thing is, B-Hop taught that shit when he had to. Like, if you followed B-Hop, like, he will get on the mic sometimes and cuss people, call people out.
I remember, when he was facing Trinidad, this guy threw the Puerto Rican flag down, and then they came after. Hey, listen, these Puerto Rican people came after him, but he ran out of the stadium.
They were gonna kill him, bro. They were gonna fucking kill him, and that became like one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year when he fought. When he fought Calzaghe, we all know this line, innit, bro?
Oh yeah.
We all know this line, innit, bro? I'll never lose to a white boy, bro.
But for me, I thought he lost still. But hey, it is what
he lost. He fucking lost. He lost.
Yeah, he lost. He did.
So he always knew how to somehow make like those big fights important. Even the rivalry with who's the Canadian dude, the Haitian dude,
Stevenson.
Yeah, no, not Stevenson. The other dude, Jean Pascal.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was hilarious.
That was a hilarious rivalry as well, bro. Oh, you remember the fate? What was it? The fucking
the HBO face-off was jokes. I remember it.
Oh, that was hilarious, bro. So he even had a way, but Andre Ward just didn't do that, bro. He just couldn't get that. But I get what you mean. Pure boxing sense, bro. He was just a fucking perfectionist, bro. Everything he threw was with the utmost elite technique and intention, bruv. He knew exactly what the fuck he was doing at all times in that ring, bruv. The way, and it took me a long time to jump on his sort of bandwagon. And I'll tell you the truth, it was the Kovalev fights.
Yeah, me too.
It was the Kovalev fights, bruv. After those two fights, I was like, all right, cool, legit. Even after the first one, I was in a bit of denial, bruv. So I can't even. It was the second one, bruv. It was the second one where I was like, all right, legit.
Because it was the first fight, yeah. People think he lost. I can understand why people I didn't think he lost. I thought it was very close. But I can understand why people would think that Andre Ward lost that fight. Understandably.
Do you know what it was?
It was the end.
I thought I called it a draw, but what I didn't agree with, I don't know if you remember ST, bruv, like the Americans were going nuts on their platforms saying that Kovalev was won 8 rounds to 4 and blah 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 and this, that, and the other.
No,
and I never understood that.
No. You could have made a case for Kovalev winning. Don't get me wrong, you could have. Because I thought
Kovalev knocked him down in
once.
Was it in the second?
Yeah, and he was dominating the start of the rounds.
He was, and then Ward came back. But in the second fight, Ward handled his business. No, I can see why you said Ward. I can see why. Not for me, but I can see why. Who else was on your team?
No, it was Floyd and Jones.
Oh, it's Floyd and Jones. Yeah. Fair.
Yeah. So
Look, I did have Tyson, even though I was going to counteract Tyson, but I did have Tyson. And the reason why I had Tyson on, right? Bro, if you want to talk about somebody that transcended the sport and made it into something different, he was that guy. And like I said, I think he was undisputed heavyweight champion for what was it, 2 years? 2 yeast straight.
Yeah, 2 years.
Obviously, I think he knocked out. What was it? I don't know the exact number. He knocked out. What was it, 18 of his first 18 opponents or something crazy like that. Obviously, what's it name? Was he the youngest heavyweight champion?
Yeah, he was.
Youngest heavyweight champion. Bro, listen, as I said, baddest man on the planet. Entertained the hell out of us, bruv. Entertained the hell out of us. And obviously under Customaro, listen, bro, if he was still around, things would have went completely different. And we could actually be talking about Tyson as the GOAT in boxing, honestly, because he was that good, he was that scary, and as I said, he became famous because of it, bruv. Like he made that name for himself. It's not a case of like he was handed it. He made that name for himself in the boxing world. And unfortunately, it was a poison chalice because it led to his demise. And obviously, I know what you lot are going to say. Obviously, when he came up against another great, he always lost. Obviously, the Holyfield fight, lost to Buster Douglas as well. Obviously, Lennox, he lost to. That Lennox loss really pissed me off. And whatnot. But for me, like I said, there was two people that got me into the sport of boxing, and that was Jones Jr. and Tyson. And that's why I had Tyson in my top three, but I'd never put him as the GOAT, bro, because as I said, he never beat anybody that he was like in terms of elite fighters, and his career went downhill. And obviously he was teetering on that, not knowing when to quit boxing, because bruv, remember when he lost to what was it, Danny Williams, bruv?
Danny Williams.
That was just a paycheck, dog. That was just
but that's why I had Tyson.
Debt at that point, bro. What did he have? Like pet fucking tigers and
all
that were living in Lamborghinis. Yeah. That was also destructive, man. But with Tyson, the thing is, with Tyson, that's the key thing, man. Like, his power became so uncontrollable. It was, in the end, his demise. It was just too powerful for him to wield, especially without the guidance of someone like a Customato, bro. Yeah. So when he did come up against these quality fighters like Holyfield and my man Lennox got showed out, bro. He always got showed out. Again, if we're talking about the Buster Douglas fight, technically he should have won that fight, you know, the long count and everything. But again, it was just like you could see at that point his stardom had become way too fucking big for his own good. Way too big for his own good. But like yourself, TJ, man, and like UST as well, man, we grew up off him. Like, he was the first boxer that my parents ever spoke about, other than, of course, Muhammad Ali. But sorry, guys. Other than Muhammad Ali, who, for obvious reasons, again, in my household, like being a Muslim and being like a great champion that transcended the sport, anti-war advocate, you know, human rights advocate, all this shit. And then Tyson was like coming up to be that guy, even though he was like a much more darker character. Like, he transcended the sport to the point where people supported him. He was like the antagonist hero, innit, bro? Everyone.
Bro. He made boxing commercial, bro.
Yeah, 100%, man. And he was actually the only person at that time on the face of the planet where you thought, this human can do whatever he wants with you. He can eat you alive if he wants to. You know what I mean? Everyone knew wrestling was fake, and at that point, obviously, there was no UFC.
Yeah.
So this was our reference point to the most savage human being alive. And he proved that, bro. Again, first few 20 fights, whatever you could call them, tomato cans, knocked them all out. But after that point onwards, you know, I would say from 88 to 90, 91, that period of Tyson, I'm fucked with. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Razor Ruddock was getting smoked. He was a good fighter at the time, you know, all these other fighters. Made him look ordinary.
Nah, 100.
And at such a young age as well, that needs to be also very considered. It's not easy to beat people like that. And he was little as well in comparison to all the heavyweights he was fighting.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. He didn't have the height and size advantage that other heavyweights did. So that.
The what, TJ? The what?
There's a guy, bro.
Every fucking podcast, bro. You find a way. You just find a way to worm it in there, don't you, bro? Obsessed with height and reach advantage, bro.
Bro, listen, it is a key component in combat sports, bro. It always has been. But listen, before we go, guys, any honorable mentions? Anyone you want to mention that we haven't mentioned. Can I ask a question actually before we go? Why? I know why, because I never liked him, but I respect him. Why is it no one ever mentions Lennox in these debates?
I respect Lennox, but Lennox fought a lot, barring a lot of these people out their prime. That's why I don't like. I respect the hell out of Lennox. Lennox is a great and everything like that, but Mike Tyson, when he was fighting, I don't think Mike was in his prime and stuff like that. I have to be honest, he beat a very good Klitschko. I don't know what it is. I don't think he lost to some people really badly in his prime as well. Like
McCall and Riddick Bowe.
Yeah,
No,
not Riddick Bowe.
I disagree, man. You guys are shitting on Lennox right now, bro. If we were doing heavyweight goats, he'd probably be number one for me.
Oh, he'd be number one. He'd be up there. But I'm talking about why he's not here as the greatest.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. Listen, Lennox had a really good career. You know, he's beaten a lot of very good fighters. But when we're talking about the greats, I think these guys here, there's reasons why I think they're better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100. Listen, that Lennox being anyway. Any honorable mentions before we go, guys? Any honorable mentions?
You have to probably put Pacquiao as well, maybe. Not the GOAT. He's not the GOAT, but obviously.
But honorable mentions, of course. You have to respect what he's done, what he's done, all the weight classes he won belts at.
Yeah.
You gotta respect it still. Now I hear that.
And probably go on.
Yeah, no, I was thinking of fights, like GOAT fights. I can probably list you a dozen, but honorable mentions, it's a tough one, man, especially guys that we grew up off watching. I would say that whole period in, was it featherweight, where it was Pacquiao, Barrera, Marquez, and Morales, bro.
Yeah.
That was a fucking sick.
Yeah, that was very good.
Period in boxing. And then obviously in middleweight, I think it was when you had Cotto, Marquez, and a few other guys. Was it middleweight?
No, 154.
What was that?
Junior middleweight.
Yeah, Cotto. Yeah. So some
good
fighters.
But speaking of up to date, for me, it's got to be Spence and Bud.
Yeah, which needs to happen soon.
And also honorable mention, even though one of your goals beat him, but you have to give him respect. Canelo is fighting really well.
Yeah,
Best guys.
100, and he will be in the conversation once he retires. But he's gonna have to be. If he keeps going at his trajectory that he's going at, he'll definitely be in the conversation eventually. And same thing with Spence and Bud, if they keep going the way they're going as well. So you've got quite a few boxers right now. Like, don't be wrong, people, the up-to-date era isn't that dead, but like it's nothing compared to the guys that we've said, but they will definitely be in the conversations once it's all said and done. But people, listen, it's been a jam-packed show. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Something different. Listen, I love these sorts of things. It wasn't heated, but listen, it was a respect show. It was a respect. You have to show respect to these fighters, putting their bodies on the line, their lives on the line to give us entertainment. But let us know what you think in the comment section. Do you agree with us? Is it Floyd? Is it Jones Jr.? Is it B-Hop? Do you have someone else in mind? Tyson? Would you put Tyson there? Would you put Pac-Man? Lennox? Listen, all these guys, we want to hear from you. Let us know who you would put in there. Throw names in the hat. Would you agree with Tooth? Would it be A-Force? Would you have A-Force in there, bruv?
Wembley Fournier, yeah?
Bruv, Fraudly, bruv. Would you have Fraudly in there? What about Queen Khan? Would you have Queen Khan in there, bruv? Listen,
for his boy, yeah?
Listen, we want to hear from you. Want to say thank you very much to my guys, Tooth and ST. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Oh, thank you, man.
Oh, thank you both, bruv, man. Pleasure.
Great show.
Proper classic.
I love it. People, coming up, we're going to have another debate show for you tomorrow. We're going to be putting two footballing heavyweights up against each other. So make sure you tune in to that. F1 talk is being spoken about. It is going to happen. We don't want to turn this into, we don't want F1 talk to turn into NBA talk before it's even happened yet. But the man, them are in talks with it. It will be coming very soon. Obviously, Footy Chat will be back next week when the leagues are back. ST and I should be on at some point in April because Spence Jr. is fighting Ugas. And then obviously we've got a couple other boxing shows coming up. Tooth and I should be back in the next couple of weeks as well as we look forward to 273. So we've got so much content coming up for you people. But people, stay safe out there. Be safe. And we shall see you very, very soon. Peace.
Peace.